name's Felton Keith. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I moved back home in 2014 to work for the newly elected mayor of Detroit. A few days before I was supposed to start work on a Monday, I was asked to come in on a Friday to kind of get an ID badge and meet some of the team and get a feel for the office that I would be working in. First person I met was this fairly tall, brown-skinned woman with like shiny gray hair. It was like platinum, and she had the sweetest updo. It looked kind of like a few of my aunts, kind of looked like my grandmother's hair. She was just cool. She was excited that I was there because I think at this time this was the first white mayor that Detroit had since 1974, and they were happy for as many black staff to come back, or talent to come back into the city. I was sitting, getting ready to take my picture for my badge. This is early in the morning. This is about 30 minutes to an hour after, I first met, my new auntie. These two white gay guys came into the office to, I think, get their badges. And she introduced me to them. It was very cordial, very professional. The two guys leave. They leave the room. She nudges me and says, these white gay guys are coming here to take all our jobs. And my first reaction was to kind of smirk or laugh, but I knew that it was wrong. I was also in the city to assume a role as the president of the newly established LGBT Chamber of Commerce. And, having to kind of wear my truth on my sleeve, I let her know that, I'm also here to work with the LGBT Chamber of Commerce. And she paused and said, you too? And I said, yeah, I'm with them. And she said, it's fine, I was just letting you know that, they're here and they're getting a lot of these jobs. You know what I mean? So during my time in the administration, I agreed to take an interview in the mayor's office with the LGBT media, which was a magazine called Pride Source. And during Pride Week, I also agreed to go to all the Pride events available. I posted quite a few pictures on Instagram, and that was that. It just felt like a regular weekend. I came back into work that next Monday, late in the day, about 3 o'clock. And when I came back into the 11th floor, where the mayor's office is, I pulled out my key fob. I tried to, get into the doors that I would normally have access to, and nothing was happening. But I didn't think anything of it because, it's city government, and you just think stuff breaks, right? I could always go through reception to get, to my auntie's office, and I go to kind of holler at her and, see what's happening for the day. While I'm in her office, the chief counsel pops his head into the office, and he asks if we can, have a quick wrap. We pop out for a minute, and we go into another office, and it's just him and the chief of staff, and they're both sitting there, and it's a very serious atmosphere. He just slams his hand on the table, gently, but kind of slams his hand on the table and says, it's not working out. And I thought, what do you mean it's not working out? It's working out. The strategy that I came there to implement was working out. And so he told me that my associations weren't aligned with the administration. I mean, that's specifically what he said. I will never forget it. And I walked out of the office. They said that they would escort me back to my desk and that I shouldn't go back and get my key from, from my new auntie's office. And I think that was the first time that I ever felt like someone was calling me a faggot and meant it, because in my life, I hadn't experienced that where someone meant it. My only assumptions are that that I was bad for strategy, that I was going to cause them to have communications issues, or that I was going to cause them to have to talk about issues that they didn't want to have to talk about in their first 6 months, because that was the extent of my tenures. I was there for just those first 6 months. It helped me own my identity. And so something that I thought that I was out about, that I realized I was slightly ashamed about that. You know, I questioned when I was first confronted with a homophobic statement on those first days, or even when I was confronted with my associations on those last days, going in my mind about, oh, I shouldn't have said this, I shouldn't have been that out. Like, all those thoughts crossed my mind. But at the end of the day, I think the most valuable thing that happened is, you know, I got to own myself. I got to own my own identity. And there's a new sort of comfort that comes with that.